This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by
nhliberty.org. nhliberty.org. The New Hampshire Grievance Council. That's the best name I can come up with for an idea I just had. What if we were to create a small group of liberty lovers and responsible government officials in New Hampshire who perhaps meet once a month and have open lines of communication, where each group can bring forward its complaints about the other. This would give government officials a way to non-violently raise concerns about perceived bad apples in the liberty movement. But it would also give liberty lovers in New Hampshire a chance to air their grievances against government bad apples, and maybe even get something done about it. Let's say, for example, we have someone who wanders into the liberty movement, perhaps by mistake, and starts, making violent threats against government officials. Say that these threats are by email and we don't know about them. And let's make this a simpler case, actually, a more black and white case morally. Let's say that not only is he threatening government officials, he's threatening their families. Now that's just plain wrong, but the government is also wrong in the way it responds to these things, because it goes to the taxpayer, forces them to cough up for an investigation, a judicial process, a fine, jailing, that sort of thing. We're always saying things should be dealt with voluntarily. Well, maybe there is a way the government can deal with these kinds of problems on a voluntary basis. In this case, it could come to the Grievance Council. Tell key liberty activists what their concerns are. Hey folks, you've got a bad apple. And give them a chance to deal with or look into the problem. Now, there are limits to what members of the liberty movement could do, but there are certain things, and ostracism is probably one of the most powerful. On the other hand, say there is a corrupt cop who has beaten up a liberty activist. Well, that's a grievance that could be brought to the Grievance Council, and with any luck, hopefully one of the people above this cop on the chain of command would be on the council and could hear the grievance and perhaps take some sort of action about it. Most of this could be done in theory without taxpayer expense. Ideally, all of it should be done without taxpayer expense. But just as importantly, it would start building a line of good communication between members of the liberty movement and members of the government. We don't want them to be faceless strangers, and I'm assuming they don't want us to be faceless strangers. This could have a calming effect as tensions continue to rise inside the United States over the economic collapse. It could help keep the liberty movement on its peaceful path, and maybe, in theory, start to limit the amount of violence that the government is currently committing. Just a thought. The New Hampshire Grievance Council. I can't start it myself, but I can do a video about it.
This edition of the Ridley Report was brought to you by the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, working to fight for freedom in New Hampshire State House. But you know how I'm always saying that if you do this at the New Hampshire State House, you're gonna hit one of the New Hampshire Liberty activists. Well, let's just try it and see what happens.
Hey, what are you doing?
See, it works. If you do this at the New Hampshire State House, you will hit a member of the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. Mr. Dave Ridley signing off for RidleyReport.com, sponsored by NHLiberty. You guys can say it.
NHLiberty.org.
No, that's not how I say it. NHLiberty.org.
ORG.
All right. Thanks,
Not
guys.
that anymore, dog.
NHLiberty.org.